number 2 of the show here on your Wednesday. Good to have you with us today. Matt Patrick here. Once again, Cliff Schechter. You'll be able to hear that on the SoundCloud and all your iTunes and all their favorite places. And a reminder, tomorrow, his live stream, where he's going to talk more about what he knows about McCain. That's going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, 11 on the West Coast. And that is, of course, on his YouTube page, Cliff's Edge. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I'm excited about Kamala Harris, and I know a lot of other people are, including my next guest. Representing 63B, the south side of Minneapolis, Emma Greenman is kind enough to join us today to talk about working with the Harris-Walz campaign and getting people in Minnesota excited about this. Representative, thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on today.
Thank you very much for the time. Hey, so I want to start off, first of all, let's just talk. You are running for re-election here. Your district, and by the way, they redistricted your district. Really interesting. You run basically from east to west on the south side of Minneapolis.
I do, border to border, the river to Edina, and I have the creek, most of the creek in my district. So it is a beautiful district with lots of lakes and creeks and great people, but I did the district had changed.
Okay. You have been, obviously, it's one of the things that you've been working with in regards to Harris and Walz. Voting here in Minnesota, it seems to be going pretty well. As you know, we are in early voting here in Minnesota. It seems to be going pretty well, as always, here. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, my background when I was elected to the legislature 4 years ago is I'm a voting rights lawyer, and I worked all over the country to protect the freedom to vote. And what I know about Minnesota is we have a culture, citizens and great election workers who really care about turnout and care about people having their voice in our elections. So when we had the pro-democracy DFL trifecta in 2023 and 2024, we really focused on making sure that it was we were protecting and strengthening people's freedom to vote. And registration is a big piece of that, making registration bridge, not a barrier to participation, and then ensuring that people had all the options they needed to vote when it was convenient for them. So Friday, because early voting started on last month, in September 20th, but on Friday, people will be able to now go in person and directly put their ballot in the tabulator, which people really like. Mm-hmm. You can vote from home. And you can vote on Election Day. So all sorts of ways that folks can get engaged. We've just been expanding those to ensure that people have options that work for them.
One of the things that it's kind of, we're changing a little bit of mentality. I know a lot of people, and myself, I included, I don't mind going out on Election Day and waiting in line. But the reality is that you don't have to. And I think one of the things we should kind of encourage was we should encourage people to do more of this and take advantage of it, because, yeah, it's fun to kind of go do the inline stuff on Election Day, but the reality is then all of a sudden a snowstorm comes through or some bad weather or your day gets hectic and it becomes a little more difficult. This is just a great way to make sure your voice is heard, and then you don't have to worry about one single day making sure it happens.
Yeah, that's right. And I have a lot of neighbors who are traveling, and I was like, go vote before you head out of town, even if you think you're going to be back before Election Day. The other thing is that it's great for our election workers and our election administration. They get to space it out, and so just taking care of and making sure that that our process runs smoothly. I encourage people to early vote if you want. If you like to vote on Election Day, that's great too. We have made it so that we are giving people the options, but I agree. I am a person who believes you should get your work done first, and so hopefully folks are voting early, whether it's by mail or whether it's going in person. Both of those options are available to folks everywhere in the state.
Emma Greenman was joining us, representative for 63B, South Minneapolis here. Lastly here, let's just talk a little bit. You're out there doing the door knocking. You're out in your district there. I know your district is leaning quite heavily towards Kamala Harris and Walz. I've been in your district. I've seen the signs. talk about the excitement there, because obviously it's one of the things that we kind of don't understand is even in areas where there is a lot of excitement about a candidate, there's still a lot of people out there that don't go and vote. And kind of getting out there and getting those people engaged so you try to get to that 100% mark. I mean, I think that's so important.
Yeah, and I will say both in my district, but I'm a member of the House. I am working all over the state to hold on to our House majority. And so I'm in a lot of districts that are purple, that have folks from across the map. And what I will tell you is that I think the stakes of this election are really clear to people. I think Kamala Harris is really excited. Folks having Tim Walz on the ballot, our governor, has been even more of an adrenaline shot in the arm. But I think it's at the end of the day, people know that they have a choice. And really the choice is, multiracial, multi-generational democracy where we're all making decisions together, where we're building bridges, where we believe in freedom and the freedom to participate as well as make your own choices, or something that Donald Trump is offering, which doesn't appear to be democracy at all. And so I think there is absolutely the volunteer energy and the urgency to make sure that every person votes, to make sure that we're having those conversations with folks who are on the fence, and to make sure, what we're hearing in Minnesota is that people like the direction of the last couple of years. They like things getting done, and we want to bring that Minnesota energy and that Minnesota work ethic to Washington. And what I know about Kamala and Tim's agenda is a lot of the things we've been working on here, and I can speak on the democracy things because that's my background. Whether it's the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act at the national level, whether it's the Freedom to Vote Act, those are things we have been working on here and done here, and we know I think that there's a lot of excitement to bring that to Washington. So I'm definitely feeling it, absolutely in my district, but frankly in the districts where I have been spending a lot of time, whether it's Shakopee or Cottage Grove, whether it's Hermantown or St. Peter, all of those places, I'm really seeing a lot of energy, and I think that's the work. That's what we're going to need to really make this important choice for the country and make sure that we protect and strengthen democracy and the freedom of all people in the country, but absolutely Minnesotans.
Representative Emma Greenman, 63B. EmmaGreenman.com is her website there. And, of course, she's encouraging you to go out and vote. Representative, the phone's a little bit rough there, so we're going to have to let you go. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the time today, okay?
Thank you so much.
Very good.